video tutorial on PROC plot in SAS. So what we're going to do today is learn how to do some basic plotting with PROC plot, and then we'll move on to something a little more interesting in the next video. But this is the basics of PROC plot. So I've already read in my Sydney Hobart race data. I've used it in previous videos on R, but here I've got it read in here. It's in the repository link below, so you can easily get to it. I've read it into the work directory, and I've given it the title race. This has where the file is located. It is a tab delimited file, and I do have replace. It does have a header row, and the first data starts on row 2. You can use the previous video where we talk about how to read in data using the GUI, and that's how I generated this code, and maybe you should comment it. All right, so the first thing we want to do is go back and look at our actual data here real quick before we go too far. So I'm going to go to work directory and see that this is my data. It has the yacht, the year, the days, the hours, the minutes, and the total time to run this race that goes all the way from Sydney Harbor to Hobart, Tasmania, which is part of Australia as well, for those of you who are not familiar with Tasmania. Okay, so what we're interested in is the year that they run the race and how long it takes them. Okay, so that's what we want to plot. So we're going to do PROC plot, and then our data is equal to race. Now notice I didn't put work race here. That's fine. I don't really need to do that. And then all I need to do is do plot and then put my y variable, which is time, and then star the y or the x variable, which is year. And I should put these in lowercase because I said I was going to do that. Anything that's not a SAS command, you should maybe put it in lowercase just to make your life a little easier. I'm going to do that. That way you can easily see what to change. Okay, so let's just do this and run this and see what pops up. So PROC plot is going to create a scatter plot of a plot with the time of the race, how long it took it to run it in minutes versus the year. So let's give this a go and see what happens. So it runs, and notice what happens. We get a plot over here in the viewer window. Now, what's interesting is that it really doesn't look like that nice of a plot because the points or whatever it has here are just characters, and that makes it a little bit difficult to use. And the reason this is even in SAS this way is a long time ago when people would create plots, they had to use what were types of printers that only had keys that were from a typewriter. So it had to make sure that any symbol that it made was one that was available on the typewriter that it had. So if the typewriter didn't have the specific symbol, it wouldn't be able to print it. We're beyond that now, but this is a legacy from SAS, and I wanted to show it to you so that when we move on to the next video and learn how to actually do different types of plots, you'll feel a little bit better about why the wording isn't PROC plot. All right, so now we can move on to the next video and figure out how to doctor this thing up a little bit nicer.